Filmed by security guards in the Louvre, shows two robbers leaving the crime scene. They make their way down with a boom lift stationed outside and escape on two scooters just seconds before the police arrive.
All right, boys, I think it's time to fully invest ourselves into a life of crime because apparently, after diving into what was probably way too easy of a heist for 9 pieces of jewelry, each costing by the millions in broad daylight, 19th century French royalty pieces taken in 8 minutes, I'm appalled. I was literally reading the article with my jaw on the floor and I'm still struggling to pick it back up. For a museum that's holding such priceless items worth way over the 88 million euro loss it just took, it makes you wonder, how did they drop the ball on something so expensive, so historic to France's heritage? It almost sounds so unrealistic, as if the security guard was sleeping in front of multiple CCTV monitors while the robbers made off with the huge shiny diamond right in front of them. People have literally had harder times stealing gum out of a gas station than these robbers had stealing jewelry out of a museum. And I'm sure we could talk about the size differences between a gas station and this museum, but the difference is the museum is heavily guarded with a bunch of security alarm systems, and yet it brought no intimidation to the robbers at all. Anyways, on October 19th, around 9:30 a.m., shortly around the time that the museum just opened, a group of thieves, just 4 of them, were disguised as construction and maintenance workers and used a furniture lift to get access to the floor containing the goods. Hey, what are you guys doing? We're lifting furniture into the museum. What does it look like we're doing? We weren't slated to receive any furniture today. Were we? All right, very well. Carry on, you silly kids. Woo. I don't know, man. That's not even how the interaction went, but they did have some kind of run-in with security. Apparently, they had a bit of a standoff with one of the security guards, and following the article correctly, that security guard was threatened with their power tools. Hey, back up or I'll use this power drill and this disc cutter. I don't have a gun, but these are just as dangerous. Yeah, yeah, you heard that right. They had a disc cutter, so they were able to use that tool to cut through the glass to get access into the gallery. But seriously, have you ever heard the sound of a disc cutter? My God, unpleasant how loud that thing is. These dudes had no intention of a quiet heist. They just didn't give a damn. Guys, let me give you a little bit of detail so you can understand how ridiculous this is so far. We're not talking about robbing your local liquor store. No. The Louvre was built as a royal palace, then later became open to the public as a museum in 1793. The museum sees roughly around 15,000 visitors per day. Based on some of the information I dug up, there's approximately 1,300 guards in this place and over 100 cameras, which apparently does work due to the fact that we have all this footage frame by frame of the entire heist, damn near as if we were there stealing the jewelry with them. We're talking about a heist going on in broad spanking daylight. First thing in the morning, you open your doors, 30 minutes later, there's a bunch of bullshit going on in the south side of your museum, leading to the loss of 88 million euros. In the same time I just spent to tell you that, I can guarantee you 15 people in the world have just been caught and arrested from trying to steal product out their local Walmart. Again, as you would imagine, using the disc cutter obviously triggered the security alarm system. Power tools were threatening enough to hold back the security guards. They stole 9 pieces of jewelry out of the display glass. All of this happened in record time. You would have sworn somebody had a fucking timer running with the Book of World Guinness Records standing in the corner paying close attention to the outcome. But we're not done, because it's the exiting of the museum that had me questioning if I should have actually been a part of the heist with these guys. They left on the same furniture lift that they came on, and my God, remember how I just mentioned that the Guinness World Records is paying attention? Well, as soon as they got off the furniture lift, they jumped on their Yamaha motorcycles and hauled ass. Just disappeared into the Paris traffic. Gone. Slid off. Vamoose. After completely getting away, they did, however, cause the error of dropping the crown of Empress Eugenie. This is a crown bolstering thousands and thousands of diamonds, and it's just spread it across the Paris streets. Damaged and spread across the ground. Can you imagine being an onlooker as those diamonds are just spread across the ground like that? Yes! Yes! But see, here's the thing. All of this could have been avoided. Hell, most of these simple human disasters could have been avoided. The whole Titanic could have been avoided if the lookout actually had access to those binoculars. Kanye West's discography could have been perfect if he would have just stopped at Donda and not been a human with tons of horrible opinions. And also, as it turns out, earlier this year, in fact, months before this entire heist, there was actually a strike at the Louvre Museum, June 16th to be exact, when a large amount of the staff walked off in protest of untenable working conditions, too much overcrowding, not enough staff for coverage, and not enough cameras. Apparently, sometimes there's an overwhelming 30,000 visitors at max, but the building lacked rest areas, not enough restrooms, and suffer from a greenhouse effect due to the pyramid structure, which leads to heat fluctuations and potential damage to the art. Seems like we were screwing ourselves over before we got robbed. Back in 2024, it was reported that only 39% of rooms in the museum had cameras, and in a project to try to increase the amount of cameras in the building, it would have took them up until 2032. Hey there, I'm Hindsight. I'm the son of a bitch that always comes up after the problem has already occurred. You should probably get on that camera situation ASAP. All of this is what led to a bunch of people online saying that it might have been an inside job, because with the staff not being happy and all the blind spots that they may have been aware of, this information might have gotten leaked to the people that were actually willing to take action on stealing the jewels. But that's just online speculation. But these robbers were so confident, so swift with their execution of taking these jewels, it's as if they already knew the entire layout of how they were going to execute it. And hell, whether to even bring guns or not. Because again, allegedly, someone got threatened with a damn power tool. The nerve of these off-duty construction workers. It seems that the museum had a vulnerable spot, and clearly the robbers just exploited and took advantage of it, unfortunately. And I would love to say that this is the end of the entire fiasco and that this was a failure on the museum's part and they should have had more tight-knit security on such a historical site. But no, there's more that's been proven that things could have been much tighter. Because apparently, when investigators and French auditors dug into the Louvre heist, they realized the museum's internal systems tied to their security cameras, monitoring systems, and administrative access was all under the password Louvre. You would think that for a historic museum worth millions upon millions of dollars, with infrastructure that's been around since the late 1700s, carrying some of the most priceless jewels and diamonds that have been a part of France's heritage for several decades, at the very least, there would be a more complex password behind it all. But that's wishful thinking. How dare I? Apparently, I'm even wrong in expecting that, because the Louvre Museum's password being Louvre is the easiest first-time try ever. Winning the Mega Powerball takes more guessing than it would the museum's password. My God, if it was numeric, they probably would have opted for 1 through 5 as their password. This shit is unacceptable. I've had better passwords for my MacBook. The fuck are we doing? Gaps in camera coverage, insufficient amount of guards to control visitor capacity, cybersecurity neglect with weak-ass passwords like Louvre. Unfortunately, all of this is what led to the historic failure that took place in duration of this well-planned 8-minute heist. As of now, French police have made arrests in connection to the heist. One of them were caught at the airport trying to board a flight to Algeria, and the other was caught during their travel to Mali. It was safe to say they were trying to get the hell up out of there. But despite the arrest, there were no jewels recovered. So I guess we still have to wait and see how the story ends of the infamous Louvre Museum heist.